Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing great today. Really a pleasure to be here for you to take a look at the next 7-day forecast with you. Also, there's a lot going on in the world today, and I think we're all aware of that. So we're going to light the candles together today, starting off with a wish for peace. And we'll also do a little bit of that in the meditation later today because, I just want to show some love and support for the people who are going through a rough time right now, particularly those in Ukraine. So first of all, a little bit of love and support from Apollo here. Wishing love to all of us. I'm going to put him down so we can talk. And as I said, we'll be lighting candles together here in just a moment. If it's your first time, I want to welcome you. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and you are here to look at a collective reading. And I work on collective readings a little differently than I think some of the other readers do. We're going to be welcoming everybody here, and we really don't segregate by signs except for the elemental forecast. So let's talk about how it's organized. We'll light the candles, and we'll get started, okay? So I always like to begin with channeled messages, and these come through typically in dreams and meditations, and I'll be starting with that first. It's basically very nice topic, connects to what we're talking about today, which is messages from your guides. So I get those every day, and I especially get them when I come forth here and work with you. So that's how we'll start. Then we'll move on to the 7-day forecast. The 7-day forecast runs from today, Sunday, to next Sunday. And I know some parts of the world are actually already in Monday. So it's just kind of a review of what you need to wrap up if you haven't already done that. But for everyone else, Sunday to Sunday. And then we'll look at blessings and blocks, things to embrace, things to be aware of. And it's all about empowerment here. There should be nothing that you're afraid of. I really try to set up all the opportunities here for you. And even sometimes the blocks are blessings in disguise. Then we'll go on to the elemental forecast. That part is the only portion in which you will see sign-specific information. Everything else here is all-inclusive. And we break it down by fire, earth, air, and water here. Then I will take a look at some viewer's choice and reader's choice options. Basically, I'll put a poll out there for you to vote on. And then we get to our special topic today, which is what do we need to hear? I think you chose a really fantastic message or sort of topic for today, because sometimes when we sort of limit it to one of the ones that I've selected there, you still may miss things. So when it's just messages from the guides, all the cards that I'll be looking at today, I will look at from a very open perspective and try to help us see the hidden pieces of it, not just the sort of like face value. At the very end, we're going to do, like I said, a meditation. Today, I'd like to try to help us find peace in our lives, peace in the world, peace in general, and we'll make that a special piece of the meditation. And then, of course, I always have a final card at the end. If there's something you're just specifically or particularly interested in, we'll focus on it at that point. So I don't take questions live. I am keeping an eye on what's going on here, but I can't always answer them live. That's a chance for you to be able to give back a little bit, okay? All right, so let's go ahead now and light the candles. I'm gonna take off the graphics here for a moment. Let me see where I put my lighter, and let's get started. Again, today I'd like to start the first candle not only to sort of connect to source, but also just for some peace on this planet, right? So 1 second here. All right, so as we begin with this first candle, again, I always like to connect to source energy. For some of you may call that God. For some of you, it's the earth or the elements or whatever. So whatever your connection to source is, this is what we're working with right now. So I'd like to say a prayer today for peace and for a connection to source energy so that we can see all the messages that we need to see and have a welcoming space in which to do that. And may this blessing kind of reach everybody out there. Love, light, and peace. All right. So I also like to call in protection using the 4 candles behind me. The first one is Archangel Michael, and I think today we want to ask for everyone to be safe. So it's not just for protection on the channel, but it's like just protection for safety and health and for those that are in danger. So first candle is that. Archangel Michael, please protect us, allow everyone to be safe and supported, and to find their way to whatever it is that they need to do without harm. Today especially, protect us from any lower frequency energies, allowing only the light to come through. Archangel Raphael, allow that anybody today that needs a healing to receive that healing. Allow my words, allow the messages that come through to be healing as well. Archangel Gabriel, please be a guide today. Help us receive the messages of the highest good. Filter out anything that is not of the highest possible energy. I also work with Archangel Uriel, and this angel tends to be very maternal or paternal, so I would say please help all of us to be supported on our paths. Help all the mothers, fathers, and children out there that need your protection as well. Thank you for being present now and always, both the archangels and everybody here today. With the blessings in place, we can get started. And as I said just a moment ago, we're going to begin with channeled messages. So welcome. If you just joined, as I said, we're going to be doing a collective here. I already went through the schedule. The first piece of it is going to be the channeled messages. Channeled messages come to me through dreams and meditations. You have some interesting messages today. Two very sort of simple but very clear ones as well. So let me get the slide set up, and then let's take a look at the messages here. Okay, so this morning, there were two images in my head that I couldn't get out of my head. One was a boomerang, one was a magnet. And both of them are really beautiful metaphors for your power in a situation, and also guides for how you should conduct yourself. Because the boomerang in particular is a reminder that you kind of get what you give. Let's talk about the boomerang first. All right, so boomerangs aren't just toys, although a lot of us may have had a boomerang or a frisbee as a kid. Boomerangs actually are weapons. They started off as a sort of hunting device. And as I was trying to research their origin and also the etymology or the way that the word was formed, there was a lot of question marks with that, because there's a lot of First Nation or Native cultures that use it. Not just Australia was one of the main sources where I think the word may have originated from, but there are also many other cultures that use these sort of same weapons or tools. So I can't pinpoint the origin, but I will say it's been around for a while. And one of the things that very interesting and is consistent, unless used for hunting, usually they are designed to return, and they're aerodynamic. So what does this really mean for us? Let's make it something that makes sense for the totem. Well, you get what you give. And I thought of a card in tarot, as I often try to when I'm looking at the totems. And for me, I was thinking of the movement and the energy and the momentum of the Eight of Wands. We're going to talk in a second about the Eight of Cups, because it's somewhere between the two of these. So you get what you give. It's a reminder of what goes around comes around. And basically, if you put a lot of good in the world, ostensibly, hopefully, eventually, that good finds its way back to you. If you consistently create havoc or put some sort of difficult energy, it eventually finds its way back as well. So it's a reminder and an encouragement for us to keep doing well, to keep putting the best foot forward, and to trust in the eventual sort of karmic return of this energetic investment. It also reminds us that the power is within. You know, I look at a bunch of cards today, but the power is within you and within me. They're just tools, right? So what is the boomerang? Today it's a totem. It's just an object that's carved out of wood or maybe made of metal. It's the combination of skill, movement, and direction that actually gives it its power. So this is a reminder that you are the source. And we'll talk about that. It's kind of like the last slide today. But when we're focusing on this slide, what we'll look at is the energy and the investment and the active portion of this. So thinking actively, acting out on your thoughts, and doing something productively and proactively. No passive energy. So it's going to be really important for you to take a step in the right direction. And once that happens, the return on the energy starts to happen as well for you. Really, any of the 8 cards except swords, we don't need it, could have worked here. 8 of Pentacles is a good return on investment, but there was more movement in the 8 of Wands. So I'm happy with all the 8s. So even though I didn't put it here, I would say 8 of Pentacles, 8 of Wands, and 8 of Cups. Nice segue into the next one. I actually see an unusual piece to the Eight of Cups, which is second chances. A lot of times, I don't know, that gets missed. So it can be, it's basically an open door. So when you're going through something in your life and you're not quite ready to close the door or burn the bridge, you basically sort of leave a little bit of an option open. So in relationships, there's a second chance to heal. If you're hurt over something, if you're upset over something, this is a chance to heal. When it comes to you missing an opportunity, let's say you couldn't get the dream job that you wanted, that maybe you tried something and you didn't have the skill set at that point in time. This represents a maturation, a maturity, a readiness, a preparation, either on that sort of tangible skill level or maybe on the soul level where you know you can do it and you don't need it so much, you maybe just want it. And that's the more sort of like magnetic force there. So this gives you a chance to decide. And that is one of the things that is important with the Eight of Cups. What do you want? The door is open. It won't be open forever, but there's this sort of question like, what do you want to do with this opportunity? And so doing a little bit of soul searching and deciding is going to be important. So I think it was a natural sort of connection between the boomerang and the magnet because both of them are about either like moving and coming back. The other one is about pulling things towards you. By the way, if you try to research magnetism, it's a rabbit hole of information, and I kept trying to kind of distill it to its most sort of like recognizable forms. So the lay term for this, or the easiest way that I can describe it, is that atoms have like protons, electrons, there's charges in the atoms. Everything's made up of this. Certain things are comprised in such a way that there's more of that sort of attractive force. There's also things that move, like the molten core of the Earth. For instance, when it's that movement, it actually creates a magnetic force. Energy, certain types of like developing or producing energy can create magnetism. There are certain elements on this Earth, particularly like iron, that have more ability to hold a magnetic charge. So it's all around us, and it is something that even within our own energy we can do. When I'm focusing on magnetic forces, I'm thinking more of the ability to attract or repel, but it's fun to kind of look at what magnetic energy is about. Things that we should remember is that they have, like, if we take a magnet, piece of iron that's been magnetized, it has a north and a south pole, and if you try to put things together that don't want to be together, it basically will repel. So you have to have an attractive and two things that are actually attracted to each other. So you can't force things. That's what a magnet shows us here. And because we're all a part of a big magnet, the Earth, we're actually part of this energy. And what you want to recognize is the push and the pull of things in your life. This is how I can actually bring it to what makes sense for us. I'm not a physicist. I'm not a scientist. And there was a lot as I was studying, and I thought, what is it really about? So the boomerang was about putting energy out and getting it back. The magnet is about when I'm doing something, when you're doing something, do you feel a sort of connection to it, an attraction to it, or is it coming back and saying, move in this direction, try something else? So ask yourself, am I being pushed away? Am I being pulled toward? How difficult is it to achieve a desired goal or sort of dream? Focus on these energies as a sort of Rider-Waite-Smith hand that's either pushing or offering you something or taking something away. And see if it's worth what you're putting into it. Also, you may have someone in your life that is just polarized. We've all had this. Someone that no matter how positive you are, they're going to put a little bit of salt or a little bit of rain on that parade. And you think, really? Is it always necessary to do that? Then there could be someone who is so positive that they're overlooking a problem. It can cut both ways. So we want to avoid the polarized energy and kind of like an infinity symbol, dance between the middle. Occasionally we hit the center point. Sometimes we go a little to the left, a little to the right, but we don't have to necessarily exist at either polarity. There'll be points where it's really, really high or really, really low, but really we're trying to dance in the middle like that figure eight. And I think that's in my mind, that's what I see when I'm looking at this. All of these symbols today are a reminder that you have the capacity to draw things into your life. You're the source. Change happens within, and then whatever you decide to do with that decision can actually create a sort of domino effect. Other people can get behind that leadership. They get behind that voice, that message. So you're the magnet, you're the boomerang. What you put out comes back. What you decide to really pull in can actually then change. One thing that I remember studying as I was looking at the energy of magnets is you can take certain types of metals, and if you rub it against a magnet, and you can actually kind of like charge the electrons in such a way that it changes the metal. So we have the ability to affect people in our lives. I actually think that change is a decision that each person wants to make on their own, but you can put that sort of positive charge out there, that positive momentum, and then if they start to do the work as well, something amazing can happen. So you have more power than you think, and I think this is an important message right now as we're watching world events, all of us kind of sitting in different parts of the world wondering what's going on. So what can you do in your own life? What can you even do on a world level to make a difference? And that's up to you. What I'm going to do today is take a look at the cards and see what messages come through, and we're going to get started now. So again, if you just joined, we got through the channeled messages. We're going to take a look at the 7-day forecast next. This is going to take us from Sunday to Sunday. I think today I may just pull cards that are calling to me, and we'll save the poll for like blessings and blocks. So just because I feel like we need a lot of light in our life right now, we're going to use the Light Seers deck for the 7-day forecast, and then I'll pull some different ones as I feel guided today, just because I want to go with that flow of the energy. All right, so let's begin here. Again, this is going to take us from Sunday to Sunday. It's good to see everybody. I hope you're doing well today. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we'll put this here. And then we'll look at next weekend. All right. All right, so let's focus on the energy of today. We have the 9 of Swords in reverse. To me, this is an awakening card, actually. A lot of times, 9 of Swords will get a bad rap, but when it's reversed, it actually shows that you are starting to see things from a different light. I love that in this particular deck, we see one bird kind of showing up differently. It's almost like it's in spirit or it's a different color, but it's showing that as things progress, as we move from that sense of fear or a lack of faith, or sometimes just feeling like we're lost, sometimes there's that little light at the end of the tunnel. Today, I'd like you to focus on what you can control, what does seem like it's worth your time and energy, since we were talking about all of that, and put the energy into that sort of area, because there's enough fear, there's enough frustration, there's enough negativity in the world right now. And I think it's really important for you to focus on the things that you can control, the things that are sort of like within reach for you, okay? So today, if you need to talk to someone, this is one thing that I would say, feel free to do that. Vent or discuss or even like journal, whatever you want to do, and then focus on one thing that you feel that you have the capacity to really create change or momentum, and make that your number one goal tomorrow. Today, just identifying it is probably enough, and feeling like I know what I want to do, because I talk about the necessity of understanding the 2 of Wands, where it's sort of like spinning the globe and saying, this is where I want to be. It's a symbol, but this is where I want to be, and this is how I'm going to get there. If you can just land on that today, it's going to set the whole week in a positive direction. Like it's going to be the wind in your sails, and that's what I hope for you. Okay, so today, it's good to acknowledge what makes us afraid, where that fear might be, but it's not going to take power. It's not going to be the main focus. If you're at a place where you've just been really pushing yourself too far, working late hours, worrying a lot about a friend or family member, take care of yourself and get sleep when and if you can get sleep. And focus on the quality, not so much the quantity of sleep. Doing anything that you can to really clear your space before you go to bed. So taking care of your body, your sleep, and focusing on reducing stress wherever possible. And then that little silver lining is going to be ever so important. So self-care is the number one thing that's coming through with this card for today. I mentioned this is the one that was missing from my slide, but I said I'd be happy with any of the 8 cards, including the 8 of Pentacles. It's a really great card to kick off the week with. So we have the 8 of Pentacles. It was reversed, so that tells me that a lot of you are going to be focusing on the details. And I think it's good to focus on details, but you don't want to bury yourself so much in a sort of like a project or reading or someone else's problems that you lose track of how far you've come, what the overarching purpose was, and also kind of getting some insight, getting a second set of eyes on this. For those of you that might be in science or maybe an artist or a writer, there's really great things that can come from engaging with others and letting them see your work, kind of vibing energetically with them. This is a good card for revising. If I were to look at the 2 different like writing and editing cards, we would have 3 of Pentacles, which is usually graduation, completion, and finishing touches. The 8 of Pentacles is more about going back and revising and editing. So any sort of revisionary energy or approach on Monday, very much welcomed by this. And it shows me that you're in the right direction and there'll be a return on that effort. So good day to get work done, and really a great day for other people receiving that work in a good light. We'll move on to Tuesday in just a second here. As we take a look at Tuesday, there are some issues around control, authority, and basically who's the boss, who's in charge. We have the Emperor card in reverse. The Emperor in reverse is often, it comes through when there can be like a boss that micromanages, a parent that doesn't trust you, a friend that feels like it's their business to tell you everything that they think. Basically, you're going to reestablish boundaries, expectations, and reassert your power, because ultimately this is a card of power. I like that we see that little chess piece here, which is saying act strategically, and also decide which battles, which moves are worth making. Sometimes it's better to just walk away. Sometimes it's better to redirect. And sometimes you have to sort of take the bull by the horns and deal with something head on. So figuring that out is going to be your most important thing. When we look at the energy, we see this little like string of light. It's all around the strategic chess piece there, right? And it's not so much around, it's almost like he's sitting on the planet Mars. It looks like Mars to me. I'll have to read the little white book on this. But when I'm thinking about that, it's sort of like, is the battle worth it? Is going to war worth it? And we're talking figuratively in our life. There could be someone in your life where it's just not worth it because you've been down that road. You've had the conversation before and you know it's a dead end. So sometimes peace of mind is the most important thing, and you don't have to prove who's right or wrong, because nobody really wins in those sorts of battles, right? For you, when I see this card reverse, it's about really building up your own strength and confidence. Upright, I would say you've got this. Reversed, I would say focus a little bit on believing in yourself, taking back the reins, having proper boundaries and limits with people in your life, and choosing intelligently, is this worth my time? And that's it for that day. So let's move back to the table here. We're going to midweek. Things are getting a lot easier here. So we've had a busy day. We've had a day focusing on self. Now we're focusing on productivity. And we're also seeing that things are coming to you. Of all the days where you can kind of sit back and relax, Wednesday's a day where I do feel like it's slightly more passive. Everything else looks pretty active here. But this day, I feel like you can relax a little. You can focus on what other people are saying. You can kind of find your zen. If any of you have an opportunity to work off-site, this is a work from home day because King of Pentacles and Queen of Pentacles represent house and home. So this would be a really good day to just go off on your own and do some work. And also we're looking at loyalties that day, really who in your life has had your back, who can you trust, who's always been there for you. This is a day where you might want to spend some time and energy with that. Of course, being the ultimate card in the suit of Earth or Pentacles here, It's a good day to negotiate with money, with resources, with time, with energy. You hold the cards, you hold the power, you hold the key. So this is a good day for business. And if possible, when it comes to negotiations, have people come on your terms or your turf so that you have a little bit more, going to be more powerful then, okay? And basically, we see the hard work that you've been putting in from Tuesday paying off on Wednesday. Focusing on yourself, standing your ground, deciding how to strategically move into the next piece. It's all finally coming into fruition, all right? So I like what I see here. Just a great day across the board for everyone. There could also be a really strong grounding energy in your life, whether it's a person or an activity, and we see that that's shining through really nice and loud and clear at the midweek point. All right, this is the first day that I'm seeing partnerships come through in the whole week. I feel like you do hold like a sort of a great potential to negotiate earlier in the week, but this is a day to really sort of like have some fun, spend some time with people you love, and also reach a resolution if it is anything contractual. So let's look at the card. Six of Cups, card that can deal with the people you love the most. It can be friends and family. It can be also like love interest, but love interest that really, I would say for you, have this sort of deep karmic connection. So, or friendships that go back many lifetimes. So if there's someone in your life that you dearly love, prioritizing time with them on Thursday will be amazing. If you have an extremely difficult conversation that you have to make, it's not just about money, it's about trying to win someone over, help them kind of see it from your perspective. This is the key negotiation day for that. So when it comes to money, it's Wednesday, money or resources. When it comes to logic and the heart, it's Thursday, because you have this kind, amiable, friendly sort of energy that's eluding or coming through, I should say, on Thursday, and other people are going to be magnetized. They're going to be pulled in by that. So it's a great energy, even if you're single and happy or retired and not focusing on relationships, your ability to pair up with others, off the charts on Thursday. So that's the day that you should basically focus on interpersonal communication. Okay? Taking a look now at how you're rounding out the week here. The pace with which things are moving could be frustrating for you. We have the Knight of Swords. This means in reverse that things are either happening a little too quickly or a little too slowly. Let's take a look at this card close up. So we see someone here either rushing because, oh my goodness, I got to meet a deadline and they need to get to their, no longer a horse now, it's like a motorcycle. They could also be trying to catch up with someone or something that's started. They may also be wishing that they could just get a running start on it. So the first thing that I would say on Friday is to take a deep breath, to look at what is within your control when it comes to timelines and deadlines. And if you're late to the game, it's not so important like when you finish or who finishes, who kind of like showed up first. It's more about how complete something is, how well it's done, and also how clear your head is. So if you can just come and show up and say, I'm a little late, or I'm a little unhappy with how slow this is going, but I am going to just focus on, is it happening for a reason? Is there anything that I want to change? Well, this other person is running around like a crazy person. Have I just discovered a way to do this smarter? So work smarter. It's not about the speed. It's not about comparing yourself to others. And if it is slow, maybe you can use this sort of this lag time to discover something that was missed before. Let's see, who did I read for last? It was Aquarius. I remember seeing in dreams just a couple days ago this feeling of, again, wishing that I could get there faster or finish something faster, like you'd snooze through the alarm. And once I got there, I was just kind of like waiting around, and then everyone was happy that things were slow. Sometimes it's a blessing when there's a lag in the schedule or there's a little bit of a free time. So don't feel like you have to constantly be on the go. Take a little bit of rest, relaxation, and downtime. All right, now let's move along into the following weekend. This will be a week from now, starting first with the energy of Saturday. Some of you may have a spillover of some of your work or studies if you're a student, or just activities if you're retired. Something is coming through on Saturday that you have to finish up. What I like about Five of Wands, particularly this one, is there's not as much of a competitive energy as there is a cooperative energy, which is always the opportunity within the Five of Wands. If all of you work together and lift each other up or hold each other up, then things start to get done faster. Not everyone can reach up there and light that torch. There's a whole team that's involved here in creating this. One of the important pieces with the Five of Wands that gets missed if you're in a position of authority or leadership is recognition. Who's doing the hard work? What can you do to say thank you and I appreciate you? Please make some time for that in your life right now. If you're the one that's constantly working and not getting the gratitude that you need, then again, evaluating, we can't always change people. And sometimes it's not, it's like an apology. If you have to pull it out of someone, it doesn't feel like there's any value in it. So if you have to constantly pull out gratitude from people, it's not great. But it may be a teaching or a learning moment if you can let them know, I really appreciate all that you have to do. I think we work well together, but I've been doing a lot lately. I'm not sure where I stand with you, and I do need some feedback. So I like it when you give positive feedback. I also like constructive criticism, but when you say nothing, it leaves me wondering, what's going on. So I think it's good to ask for the kind of feedback that you want and lay out some of the parameters. If they still don't give it to you, that's a sort of red flag that this person, this place, or this opportunity may just not be sort of energetically connected to you in the way that they need to be. All right? Let's take a look at 1 week from now, next Sunday. There is a chance for some sort of a meeting of the minds here. The Two of Cups can be unrequited, however. So there could be someone coming through that offers you something that just doesn't quite meet your expectations. So if that's the case, you have to listen to your heart. Particularly if this is a romantic situation. So Two of Cups can be romance. If you are being pursued by someone that you're not interested in, or if you've gone out on a date, maybe it was you met on an app and you met in person finally, and now the chemistry's not there. It's better just to let them know sooner than later. So we can't control our heart. Even if things look good on paper or we cognitively think they make sense, you have to follow your heart. If someone's trying to get you to do something that does not feel good to you, this can quickly go from like holding hands and to a sort of like tug of war or like arm wrestling sort of thing. So don't let somebody abuse or use that sort of pathway into your heart in a way that shouldn't be used either. So basically stand your ground and be true to yourself. There could be someone that's interested in you and you don't know it, whether it's for work or for love. Keep an open mind and an open heart. And again, trust in what this tells you. But there could be something unrequited, unexpected, or a little bit left of center. I genuinely, and I should say generally, like the Two of Cups, but when it's reversed, it's a reminder not to try to crowd please, okay? So do what's right and do what's right for you. And one last look at all of the cards. I'm pretty happy with the week ahead. There's nothing here that to me seems uncontrollable. Today is the toughest energy by far with the Nine of Swords in reverse. So overcoming fears today. Monday looking really good for productivity. Tuesday focusing on self, focusing on boundaries and anything where you need to regain or reclaim control. You have a great day for leadership midweek on Wednesday. Good for resources, good for money. Good day to work from home. On Thursday, a fantastic opportunity to overcome any sort of relationship issues. It's a good day to go out on a date. It's a great day to meet friends. It's a good day to talk about a difficult topic because people are just more open to what you have to say. Friday, there's frustration over speed, either too fast or too slow. There's an opportunity because nothing that happens is for an accident. So if it's slowing down, maybe you're meant to see something. If it's too fast, do what you can, delegate, ask for more time if you need it. Looking at next weekend again, cooperation, not basically competition, staying motivated, and then also saying thank you and gratitude is going to be important. Don't force things when we're looking at a week from today. It either feels good or it doesn't, and that's the basic piece of that card. All right, so that was the second part of the reading, the 7-day forecast. We're going to now move on to blessings and blocks. I'm just going to rearrange the cards here a little bit. And I'm just going to skip around and look at some different decks here as we're doing this. So let me see what calls to me. Okay, we'll do the, let's see. Yes, okay, I'm gonna do True Heart Intuitive for this one. All right, so blessings and blocks. Let's take a look and see what the message is. All right, so again, we're looking at blessings and blocks. Blessing, self-explanatory, something to embrace. Block, of course, something that could hold us back from achieving what it is we want to do. So your blessing card is reversed. It's the Seven of Wands. Working smarter. Some of you are doing so much that you have to push back. And I feel like you do finally get that sort of courage to speak up. But what can happen with the Seven of Wands is it can be a little territorial. So it depends on your culture and your age and all of that. But I think that depending on where you were born and when you were born, there was this sort of, it was a fallacy, but like if you were to try to do everything and you could prove to everyone that you could do it, that made you a better person. I think if we spread ourselves too thin and just burn ourselves out, there's not a lot to be. To me, that's someone who doesn't know how to say no. So the blessing right now is that we have this powerful word, no, so don't be afraid to use it. We also have this powerful ability to say, I would like your help on this, or push back and say, this isn't realistic. We need to go back to the drawing board. Defend yourself and stand up for yourself and manage your energy smarter. And don't be afraid of the rejection. You're not going to receive it if you do it in the right way. Seven of Wands is a card of power to me because it shows me I can take care of myself. I can fend for myself. I don't have to prove myself to everybody, right? So you don't have to prove yourself. One thing that I would say here is letting your guard down, particularly when it comes to someone that you truly love, is going to be important. So best friend or family member, if you have a lot that's going on and you just need to talk, we basically see someone here with a shield, like a shield maiden, and she's letting her guard down when it makes sense, when it feels right to her. Because if we're constantly on guard, we're not able to receive. It's like the cups are upside down, right? In any of the court cards with king or queen, etc. So we want to keep the cup upright so that we can receive. In order to do that, we got to get the shield out of the way and see what someone has to offer. You're going to decide if it's what you want, but if we're blocking everything, then you're missing something. So the blessing here is I do think there's someone in your life that you can let your guard down on with. I also think that there's places where you can delegate, where you can push back. You have to figure out how to use that shield. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, but the blessing this particular week is knowing when and where to use it. So you don't have to constantly be on guard, and you don't want to never be on guard. So it's the dance this week. And finding that will help you. And I think you already kind of know how and when to do it. Just trust in that. The block this week, Nine of Swords, second time it's come up. And we see here that it's more of a cognitive block. Both of the cards are pretty similar. So notice this one, we see a woman putting her face in her hands. We see here the same thing, a woman putting her head in her hands, but we see the energy on the brain there. As I'm looking in the brain, let's see what's going on in there. We can see some darker energy, basically. So you can kind of see these like little eyes blinking, almost like you would in a haunted house, right? So for many of us, we have been receiving the sort of projected fears and anxieties of people in our life, but it's not necessarily us. However, it can get implanted there. So what you're going to do today is breathe. And what I like to imagine is you could see like a ray of light coming down on you. And imagine that each breath you take, you can see like a little puff of smoke or, black dust or whatever coming out as you're getting rid of this sort of darker energy. And then you're breathing in the light. Breathing out the dust, breathing in the light, until all you see is light coming in and light coming out. You can imagine the light going in each and every part of your body and then clearing out your headspace. But ultimately, the block is mental. So you need to do whatever is necessary to really create like a wake up or aha moment when it comes to your head. All right. So I know easier said than done sometimes, but it's really important for you to be able to step away from fear, from limiting thoughts, and from any anxiety, and especially from all of those things when projected by someone else in your life. So if you need to talk to someone, talk to someone. If you need to push back on something, push back on something. when it comes to fears and anxieties. Realize and remember, where do I start? Where does that other person begin? And if something isn't a part of my energy, I'm going to let that go. I don't have time for this right now, right? All right, so now we're going to move on to, I know what a lot of you really, really love here. We're going to look at the elemental forecast: fire, earth, air, and water. So let me take a look here and see what I want to use for this. I might use this fairly new deck that we used last week. This is the Star Seeker Tarot for this. Okay, and let's take a look and see what's coming through. So I'm going to pull all 4 elements first, and then I'll break down each card after that. All right, so let's take a look here. Starting with fire. Earth, air, and water. All right. Let's take a look at fire first. So we have the Knight of Cups card, and the Knight of Cups was reversed. So I'll take this down just for a second so you can see the card. We see someone here swimming in the ocean, and we see a little whale or a little mermaid, who knows what, in the distance here. As I said earlier, if you are having a difficult time in receiving, then it's almost as if you've put the no vacancy sign up, right? So all of a sudden, people want to come in and want to connect with you, want to offer something, but for whatever reason, you're pushing back on that a little bit. So for Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, I want you to stay open to new ideas and new opportunities, but mostly I want you to take care of yourself. Whenever a court card is reversed, and I'm just looking at you, this is really an encouragement for you to decide, where is my head at? Where is my heart at? I also want you to believe in possibilities. Don't sort of like talk yourself out of something before you have a chance to see it come to fruition. And then we see someone kind of like half in. And although I kind of like that, I mean, temperance is about taking the first step. One thing that I would say for all of my fire signs out there is, if you're ready and willing to go all in, go all in. Because what we're seeing here is someone that's kind of half in, half out. And if you really, really want to see something come to fruition, you almost have to dive in and just go for it. In relationships, we want to see the same sort of energy. Both parties need to be fully engaged. If either side is just giving, only half-hearted energy, it's leaving the other person wanting or wishing for something. Finally, and this is a very nice note, fulfillment. I think that it's important for you to find something that is fulfilling to you and also fulfill any promises. Do things that basically bring things to a close, basically tying up that circle, okay? So overall, pretty good energy. Because we got a Knight of Cups, there could be an offer on the table for you, good news. It's again up to you to decide, like, is there something more that I want from this? There's a very similar energy that I'm seeing here for the Earth signs, because we have the Page of Cups for Earth. Earth is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And it's almost like we have call and answer between these 2 cards here. So we have 2 people looking at different ends of the spectrum, right? So the main difference in this one is that you're right on the precipice of something new. And whenever you're on the precipice of something new, it can be scary to get involved. I would say for both my fire and my earth signs right now, there is a chance for you to be a little bit bolder, be a little bit more confident and self-assured that it's going to be all right, because I'd love to see this as Queen or King energy. The cool thing with the Knight and the Page, though, is that you kind of have the ability to see what's going on in the world around you. You may have to actually, particularly as I'm looking here at my my earth signs, you may have to focus on being the middle person, the one that is stuck in the middle, trying to talk between 2 people. Take a lesson from my experience. You only need to deliver the initial messages. You don't have to do everything. It is up to the other 2 parties to get into the same room at some point, because you can get burned in the crossfire of arguments or, sort of like power struggles. So particularly for earth signs, deliver the message and then focus on your work, your task, what you want to do. For both fire and earth, I think that there's a lot of potential to meet people, to engage with people, to have some great connections. But you have to focus on your happiness, your contentment, and your own emotional state, because both are showing up a little bit more sensitive right now. Okay? All right, let's move along to my air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Looking pretty good for the air signs. We have the Six of Wands. It's in reverse, but the interesting thing with this is, especially because we see this sort of like witch on, it's like a broomstick, but she's really riding a sort of like a crystal or a wand. You're going to be okay. It kind of reminds me of a fish. You can kind of go this way, that way, whatever. And that actually is the message here, is that success takes different paths. When we see Six of Wands in reverse to all my air signs, don't feel like you have to fit into the cookie cutter vision of what someone else wants you to do. Don't be afraid of the pushback or the lack of support if you deviate from the expected sort of outcome or course. You are your own person. Your ability to rise above, look at something from a different perspective, and bring a special sort of flavor to something. It's almost like cooking, right? Each chef has their own sort of special touch and special sauce. Whatever it is that makes you unique, don't give it up. Don't water it down. Stay true to that. And some decks, this one included, we don't actually see the other people waiting there. I believe that you're being set up for success. And so the acknowledgement, the validation, the eventual sort of, this is the proof of the pudding, it's going to take a little bit of time, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. So the number one thing for Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius is don't get impatient, don't lose faith, and don't succumb to peer pressure to change, modify, or mute your energy to meet someone else's expectations. Okay? Let's move on to water. For water, it's about really getting real here. We have the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords can be a card of fear and being afraid of what someone's doing. But usually, the way that this one's drawn is interesting because typically it's someone that's trying to get away with something. I think that there's a combination of fear and accountability that's coming through for all of my water signs. There may be something that you see that you're afraid to accept, or there may be someone in your life that's not ready to receive what you want to kind of give here. Don't be afraid to see something for what it is. And if somebody tells you who they are, trust in that. If they say that they're not deserving of your time and energy, don't try to argue the other way. Say, well, thank you for letting me know. And good luck in working on yourself. And don't waste your time. That's one thing that I've learned sometimes is if people show their true colors and they're not interested in changing, or they're too insecure to kind of make that step, the Seven of Swords is actually proactively showing itself to you to say, try to avoid that path of changing someone. You can't change them until they're ready to be changed. Be accountable and honest to yourself and to others and expect the same honesty in return. If someone is incapable of being authentic and being vulnerable, then it's a sort of litmus test for all of you right now to know, like, this is probably not the best energetic use of my time and energy. Just quickly looking at all of these, again, what I'm noticing this week is sensitivity across, when I was looking at fire and earth, I'm looking at progress and movement here, but then a little bit of fear as well. So we want to be kind and caring to ourselves. We want to be focused on what we can do, and we want to be able to just be honest. Honesty is key. That's the way to overcome the Seven of Swords here. So one more time for fire. You actually have a lot of potential to bring in whatever it is that you're looking for. The speed is a key piece that we've been seeing time and again with a lot of the night cards. So I would say for you to focus on understanding that everything, the other night card was up here, everything is happening for a reason, for the right time, right space. That the main question for you that I got is, are you ready to receive it? And are you all in, or are you on the fence? Don't get caught in the middle. If you're an earth sign, remember that you have your own message, your own plan, and you have a lot to give and a lot of reasons for people to love and embrace you. For all of my air signs, success is at hand, but it's going to require perhaps an unusual or atypical approach. You've got this. Don't give up. And then finally, for water, Honesty, honesty, honesty. Be honest with yourself. Expect that honesty from others. Don't be afraid. And if you're shown something, be grateful for what you were shown, even if it was unexpected or maybe not what you wanted to see. It's all going to lead you down a better path. Okay? So we've gone through all of the sort of main energy here leading through the elemental forecast. Let's take a look at the viewer's choice and reader's choice. A quick segue while I'm getting into that. First of all, if you haven't already liked and subscribed and you enjoy what you see here, hit that subscribe button. It is absolutely free. It helps the channel. Depending on which month it is, sometimes it's anywhere from 40 to 70% of the people that watch don't subscribe, but it helps. So just do me a favor and hit the subscribe if you've never done it before. And liking is free, so do it once, please. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, here are all of my links. It's usually just my name. Twitter's the one exception to that rule. I've already seen some great participation and support. If you'd like to give back, you can do that through SuperStickers and SuperChats. Okay, so let's move on to the viewer's choice and the reader's choice. Then we'll get into the special topic for today. Also, special thanks to my moderators, Maria and Dakota, for their help today. I appreciate it. Okay, so for the reader's and viewer's choice today, let's take a look at these cards here and see what might be worth kind of investigating a little bit more. All right, so let me get everything set up here. A reminder as I do this that if you're watching this on a computer, you should be able to vote as long as you can see the chat. Same thing for a mobile device. Viewer's choice. Thank you so much to that super sticker that just came through. I just noticed that as I'm typing here. I appreciate that. All right. So for today's viewer choice, let's see what's going on here. Okay. As I look at the sort of, there's a lot of energy around the Nine of Swords that came through, which is fear-based energy. So I'm going to say like overcoming fear/anxiety would be something that I would love to take a look at. Let's see what else. Patience, because we had a couple of Knight cards that were reversed. So being patient with yourself, being patient with others, being patient. Self, others. Okay. And the other thing that I'd like to look at is, let's see, because the Seven of Swords came through on this, I want to also look at honesty and accountability. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to send this out to you to vote on. And while you're voting, I'm going to take a look at something that I'm curious about. So let me go to a different deck for this one. And for this, let's take a look and see. I want to look at I don't think I asked about partnerships, did I? So I'm going to ask about partnerships because we have the Two of Cups and Six of Cups. So I'd love to see what advice the cards have to yield when it comes to just general partnerships and working together. Okay, so we have the lovely Two of Wands coming through for this. And the Two of Wands is a reminder that if you see it, they can see it. If you don't see it or refuse to see it, someone else is going to have a hard time doing this. So sorry, I wasn't in focus here. So do you believe what you are putting out into the world, basically? Because just like a salesman, if you ask them for advice and you say like, which piece of furniture, which air conditioner, which shirt is the best shirt? And they're like, I don't know. I'm not so sure I like this. You're not going to buy from that person. So in relationships, people are really looking at your investment, how much you believe in yourself, how much you believe in them. You can't fake it if you don't feel it. And the reason is because they can just see the sort of like, they can read the face, they can read your sort of body language, and also just looking back historically at how much you've given toward any sort of particular approach is sort of like, do you really feel this? So if you see it, they'll see it. And this is the exciting piece with this. You can actually get people pulled into a dream, into a plan, into some sort of a goal by sort of like putting your heart into it, because that sort of passion is the number one thing that also pulls them in. If we think of really great business or political or even just general leaders in our life, a lot of times they have this sort of gravitas or personality when they come into the room. You just want to be around them because they're like, oh my God, you got to listen to this. I have this good storytellers will say it like this, like, oh my God, I have to tell you what happened last night. It was amazing. Do you have time? Sit down. They've built up the expectations. You're expecting a crazy story. You don't have to go that far, but it's sort of the same thing versus how are you? You want to hear what happened last night? You don't want to hear that. You want to hear the other one. So it's about trying to kind of like put the best energy out there and help someone see that you're invested, you believe, and that this is going to be good. This is going to be great. Okay. So that's the message there, is that people are picking up on what you're giving. So what are you giving? All right, let's take a look now at what's coming through here. Let's see. We have overcoming fear and anxiety. I think that's a really fantastic choice. I'll wait a moment because sometimes the polls are a little bit behind. So I'll give it 1 second just to confirm, but it looked like it was in the lead by over 50%. So let's see. Yeah, by 58%. Overcoming fear and anxiety. So great choice, everybody. Let's see what's coming through for overcoming fear and anxiety. First of all, it's time to have some fun. The Three of Cups in its simplest form is just a chance for you to connect with those that you love the most, a message that I said earlier. It's about celebrating life's little victories. So oftentimes we are so worried about getting an award, graduating, getting someone to say yes to something, getting promoted, all these sort of like arbitrary milestones that you forget. Today could be an amazing day, or that you have some amazing people in your life, or you got through the day. Sometimes if you are dealing with recovery, let's say you're going through physical therapy and, it was a rough day, but you got through it and your body's fighting and you're seeing progress. That's a cause to celebrate. Just getting through a difficult situation. If you're going through a divorce, for those right now in the world that are struggling to survive, and each day is a day where you sort of think at the end of the day, I got through it. That in and of itself, sometimes we think it has to be too big or too grand of a celebration. Being able to breathe and eat and be alive, these are cause for the Three of Cups. Overcoming anxiety is also about having some fun and making room for celebration in your life. So make time for your friends, make time for your loved ones, make time for your family if you like your family. Make time for anybody in your life that brings a little bit of joy. What we are seeing on a world stage right now is the importance of time, and that we don't know how much we have sometimes. We talked about this a couple years ago when the pandemic first began. We're seeing it right now because war is potentially breaking out here. It is breaking out, like, let's call it what it is. So like we have to take care of one another because none of us have any guarantees, but we have a lot of time in our life sometimes where we just forget that this experience is finite. So today I want you to do something to celebrate something, someone, some sort of energy in your life that you love. And that will help you get past the anxiety. Focus on right here, right now. Because what happens with the Nine of Swords is we go into all of these potential what ifs, right? And get lost sometimes worrying about things. And I think that what we have to focus on is what we can control. We have to get other people engaged in believing in what we believe in. And just these two cards go really nice together. Talk about your hopes and fears, and do that with people that you love the most. They're really connected, actually. And do something fun today. Do something positive today. Don't wait until tomorrow. That's the message here. Say I love you to someone. Go take a walk with your dog. Hug someone. Do something in gratitude and love and exchange with another living creature on the planet. And that's going to be something that will take your anxiety down. Okay? All right. So I believe we're now into the main topic today. So just a quick look at where we've gone. We're now at the view. We're just past that, rather. We're at the special topic here. And the special topic today, of course, is messages from your guides. And I think today we pretty much really need messages from the guides. So let me just clear up all the cards here. I'm trying to decide if I just want to pick a deck, which I might, or if I'm going to have you vote on one. So let me just get all of these lined up. And I just want to see what's calling to me. So let's see. I believe in free choice. So I'm going to let you choose the decks here, but I'm going to pick my favorites here because I just want to see some variety. All right. So I'll give you a choice to vote real quick on this. Viewers. Okay, so let's just say which deck would you like? That way you have a chance to affect what we're using today. I think I'm going to, I haven't used Aphrodite in a long time. I'll put that into rotation. Let's see. I know you all like this one as well. The Tarot of the Divine. We'll put Modern Witch here. We just used light seers for the main portion. So let me just see if there's something different here that I haven't used for a while that would show up and be good. Okay, I have selected the decks. So give me a second here and I'll let you take a look at what's on the table. So here's what I have laid out in front of me. We have Aphrodite, Tarot of the Divine, Modern Witch, and the Wildwood. So give me a second to put all of these into areas where you can vote for them. So we will do Aphrodite. We have Tarot of the Divine. We have Modern Witch. I'll show you cards while you're voting. And then we have the Wildwood. Okay, great. So while you're voting, just a couple of quick views of what these look like. All right, so option number 1 is Aphrodite, and it looks like this. And many of you have seen it because I use it a lot, but I've put it out of rotation a little bit this past month, so an option to look at that if you would like. Then we have Tarot of the Divine, which looks like this, and it's basically retold fairy tales, illustrated in a really sort of contemporary way. Then we have Modern Witch, which is a Rider-Waite-Smith derivative deck. Nice bright colors. Haven't used this for a while in the main spread. And then also one that almost won, or might have won last week, and I had to go with a different one, so I'm bringing it back. So this is the Wildwood deck, which has beautiful nature totems and a nice sort of earthy energy. One of my all-time faves. Any of these are great for today. Those are just the ones that my eyes were drawn to as we were talking. So I'll give you a second here to vote. Let's see what's in the lead. We have Tarot of the Divine in the lead. Now we have Wildwood. All right, I'm going to give you an extra moment. And at this point, I'm going to end the poll and we're going to see which one wins. And I'll wait a moment and just make sure that the final one comes through. All right. So let's take a look here. Put my glasses on so I can see this. Wildwood won by 35%. I see it this week. It gets its chance to shine. All right. So we're going to do Wildwood. I'm just going to switch up one of my oracle ones. Well, I think there's still enough here. Okay, give me 1 second here. We'll get started. Okay. Thank you for giving me a minute to get set up. Now we're going to take a look at the main portion of the reading, and here we go. And for those that are complaining about Aphrodite, I may just choose it next week. I do let them all rotate in. I usually use Aphrodite for the 7-day forecast too, so every deck gets its moment. This one is winning because last week it didn't, I think, and it's just getting its chance to shine, and this week I think it's a good week for it. So again, we're looking at special topic right now. This is going to be messages from your guides, and I'm going to be looking at everything sort of upside down, inside out. So I'm actually really happy we got this because it's an atypical deck, and I kind of like to go for more abstract decks when I look at messages from your guides. So you got a really, really great deck here. And yes, the Aphrodite was used in heavy rotation, so I took it out of rotation this month. Okay, let's focus. This is definitely in my top 5 favorite decks. I would say without a doubt, it's an amazing deck. Super powerful card coming through in the Catalyst. Okay, we have 2 cards coming through there. And I'm actually using a Afro Goddess Oracle here, so there you go. Get a little bit of everything. All right, so let me get everything set up here, and let's take a look at your catalyst first. All right, if you're brand new, the way that the catalyst works is it's basically a way for you to empower yourself, to create action in your life, okay? So we have Gnosis here. It's a reminder of your own power to do things, to not necessarily need a gatekeeper. So this is kind of like a nice foil or alternative to a Hierophant. It's a reminder that you connect directly to spirit and source, which if we go back to some of my slides, that was actually the very last slide that I put up there. But let's review it in case you joined late here today. Remember, you have the capacity to draw things into your life. You are the source. Essentially, what I just said there is precisely what this card is reminding you of, is that you are the source of all things. And sometimes we have been, not sometimes, but I would say traditionally we've been taught that others hold the key. So you hold the key and you are the gateway and you are the source of all of that. This card really doesn't have, there's a couple in this, I think Agape is the same way, but it really doesn't have an upside down version or reversal. So basically, no matter how you look at it, you have the capacity to create movement and power. You are the source. We see this bird flying here. That's the first time that I've seen that, kind of creating this almost kind of like boomerang or comet energy as well. So nice connection to our totem messages and channeled messages today. Okay, let's take a look at what's at the center of the spread here. All right, so in the middle, we have one of the best cards that you could have in a just general spread here, and it's the 3 of Wands. Remember earlier when I was talking about all the cups cards, especially when I was looking at it for fire and earth, I believe you guys had the reversals. So we have the 3 of Wands here, which actually has a caption of fulfillment. So if you've been waiting for something to come to fruition, this is the time for that to happen. The other thing here is that you are so the hidden bow in this one or wand in this one is the one that the person's holding. If you've never read with Wildwood, bows are wands and arrows are swords. So we see 2 sticks here, which are 2 of the wands, but the active energy is in this one. And I never know, well, I don't know how many times I've pulled this card in this particular deck. It may be something that doesn't come up all the time, but you know me that I like an active 3 of Wands. I believe that in many decks, it's passive. One of the new ones that I like, Luna, it always bothers me. There's almost like this Roman emperor sitting up on the hill with this like swaddling robe around him, just looking out at the distance, pontificating on what's coming through. That is not a good 3 of Wands. I love the Luna deck, but that's sort of like a very passive one. Let it come to me. 3 of Wands is also about, I see it happening. I can do this to even make it happen faster. So I imagine that this person is going to take action. If you see an opportunity, go for it. That's the message from your guides on this particular 3 of Wands. It'll happen faster than you think, but timing is important because if you wait too long, someone else could step in and then you're going to have to wait for another door or window to open. So seize the day, seize the opportunity, take that arrow and let it go. You have to basically move forward, all right? So that's the most important thing. Your action is what that necessary piece to success. Anybody that is a reader or that reads for themselves understands the importance of free will and then also follow through. So you can see something in the potential energy, but if you're reading for someone and they don't do anything about it, then that opportunity will go and then you'll have to read for something else. So you have a chance right now to see something. Do it. Let's see what's coming through as an opportunity. We have the 6 of Pentacles. All right, I really like this as a resource card. This is my bare minimum card for balance, and essentially it typically does have balance in it. When we look at this one, we see someone who has lost something or who has tried to push back before and it didn't work. You're going to be okay this time. What can happen with the 6 of Pentacles is we can spend so much time giving, producing, providing for others that at the end of the day, you just sort of feel like a wilted flower, or in this case, a broken rake. It's just sort of like, I can't do anymore. I can't push anymore. Well, good. You know your limits now. So next time when someone asks for too much, you say, no, I'll give this much. In return, I need this. Or it's your turn to give. Or you just say flat out no. The traditional card shows someone with a coin purse, a scale, and they're deciding to give certain amounts of energy, time, or resources to people, but they can't give it to everybody. Choices. So you have to make a choice, and you may not always be the popular one, but sustainability, return on the energy, the boomerang and the magnet, both coming through with that. And by simply saying yes or no at the right times, you can grow the abundance. You're going to be smart and discerning about how and when to invest energetically, okay? As we look in your deep past here, some of you've like really been through something all the way through and back here. The World card here, I actually love this. We're going to pull it up close so you can see it. But the World is reversed, so it's telling me that a large part of maybe the last few months has been you trying to kind of get your head on straight. There's been a lot of changes, and it's kind of, you have necessary change in movement happening here with the Death card. But what we see here is an acceptance that needs to happen first. Like, this is truly over. This is truly done. Is it truly over? Is it truly done? That's the sort of like existential question that you have. But looking really close, we see like a labyrinth or a maze at the front. And then we see this doorway here. So this represents the challenges, just the whole journey of life itself. And then this represents something new. We see the 4 seasons on the tree: winter, fall, summer, and spring being represented. This can also show like a 1-year cycle around the sun. Some of you are just wrapping up. You might have a solar return coming, really like a birthday coming really soon. You may be finishing up a contract, maybe for business or your living situation or whatever. I see something coming through, and now you decide, have I fulfilled my part of this bargain? It can be a karmic sort of completion that's happening here. So here we see that your contract has been fulfilled. That means on an energetic level, if you meant to reconnect with someone, and whether that sort of soul reunion was a good one or not so good, good news for you today. Great news for you today. You have the power of free will, because this is completion. Right down the middle, it's all completion. So we have the World, 3 of Wands with fulfillment here, and then the Death card that says journey, and it's a new tomorrow. So completion, completion, completion. So all you have to decide here is, have I had enough? That's the scales. So have you had enough? Do you want more? Is there something in your life where you haven't had enough? This is your time to take that bow and arrow and go after it, okay? You may be long in the tooth with a place that you're working or place that you're living. So if you don't feel like this is the place for you anymore, then it may not be. This is fine. You just have to decide for yourself. Again, am I ready? All right, enough said for that. I do feel really good, though, about everything that's coming through. By the way, this portion of the reading can be timeless. You can come back and revisit it long after this week. All of my special topics you can look at anytime you want. And later today, I'll put timestamps so you can revisit it. But why I say that is because I feel like this is a breakthrough year for you, where a lot of changes can happen. You're sitting on this sort of like, it's almost like an active volcano, and you're just ready to kind of like burst through to the next level. So you can't hold back change at a certain point. It is like that lava flow. So it's whether it's going to be a nice and steady flowing one, or if you're going to blow your top. So you have to decide how much energy you're going to put into it. And again, just a reminder that eventually you have to go with the flow of energy and change. All right. As we take a quick look at the table here, as we look at recent pasts, I always love this card. It makes me smile, even though the bear is a little bit angry. We have the Queen of Pentacles. I love Queen of Pentacles. It's a good nurturing energy, but you don't want to mess with the mama bear. So let's look at this mama bear. I feel like almost every time I use this deck, she comes up. It's either this one or the Judgment card has a bear on this deck too. So I think that this bear is actually just protecting something that she cares about, her little cubs, her den, etc. And the important thing for you to kind of look at is someone acting out of sort of like a knee-jerk reaction or territorial energy? Did you talk to someone on the wrong day? Have you also felt like the grumpy mama bear, where it's just like, give me some space. In relationships, space is the secret sort of like sauce, the secret solution to making this gonna like work out okay. So if you had challenges with someone that you love, it's not silent treatment if you both aren't investing. That's just, we need space. So give the other party as much time and space as they want. Keep the door open. Remember, there's a sort of hidden Eight of Cups because it came through in my meditation. So if you're not ready to say goodbye to something, then just give it space and see what it shows you. So it'll either naturally die out, like sort of like the Four of Swords, or there may be movement in one direction or other, like the Six of Swords. All you have to do is focus on yourself. And again, because I'm reading for you, this card is about personal development, personal strength. And there's a reminder here, try not to be territorial, try not to be grumpy, try not to take things too personally. Do, however, take care of yourself. Do invest in yourself. Definitely consider things like going back to school, eating better, exercising. Moderation across the board is the key thing. Moderation and self-care. If you do these things, then you'll get back into the powerful energy, which is the Queen of Pentacles. If the bear was upright, I wouldn't worry about it. But it did come through in the reverse here. So it is about focusing on not going to the extremes of this, which can be self-indulgence, taking things personally, or again, being a little bit grumpy or a little bit territorial. But the positives of the Queen of Pentacles, and there's a lot of positives. First of all, it's the greatest card for nurturing something and seeing something grow. She has an amazing ability to bring forth life. She's second only to the Empress when I look at like mother figures in tarot. She's also really good at managing resources and creating wealth and abundance. And she's really good for creating a safe environment to be in a relationship or to live in. It's like the card of house and home. So all of that energy is there. The only thing that's blocking it is territorial tendencies, overprotection, grumpiness. So work on those, some great things will happen. If there's something you truly need to protect, just know that saying it once should be enough. If someone isn't listening, then that's also a sign that this is the wrong connection, okay? All right, let's take a look at your crowning card. So we have death in the crowning card. Death is nothing to be feared. It's a lovely energy to come through because on the heels of everything that we see here, particularly that it's kind of rooted in the Three of Wands in the world, it tells me that it's change for the better. So this particular deck, I love that they call it the journey. We just have a carrion crow having a meal, circle of life. It is what it is. But basically, it's the end of one thing, the beginning of the next thing. And it's also showing that this is the doorway that's opening here. So you just finished whatever path this is. Now it's almost like a little hobbit entrance here, but you're going to go through the tree ostensibly to the other side. And that's all that I see death as, is ends and beginnings. So something's ending, something's beginning. In relationships, one party may have just changed a lot. We'll look at love in just a moment here, but I think there's one party, one person, one thing in your life where there's been so much movement, there's been so much shifting and so much changing that either you're on board or you have to move on, whether the change is within you or it's an environmental thing. That's another thing that can help you with that. Death is upright, so it seems unavoidable. It's grounded by almost nothing but positive cards, so I see a positive change. The only thing that happens with change is fear sometimes. Why can't it be like it used to be? If it were that way, we would never have really progressed past, sitting around the campfires or living in the caves. We have to sort of we've continued to evolve the way that we think, the way that we write, the way that we work, our languages, math and science. So progress and change is actually what continues to help us evolve. So this next change in your soul's evolution is necessary, and it's going to be a positive force for you. One last thing, then we'll move on to the next card. Sometimes with change, it's out of our control. There could be someone in your life that leaves you, either breaks up, there could be a death, there could be a material loss. The death in that particular part of your life can just feel a little bit like you're catching your breath. So give yourself time to catch your breath and make peace with what's going on. Everything has a season and a reason, okay? All right, so we're looking now at return card here, the Five of Wands coming through. We see someone here again with the bow and arrow. Actually, it's more of a shield on this particular card. But I would say the message with this one is, have you lost your sort of mojo? I continue to sort of see an energy of, am I ready to step in the front of the crowd? Am I ready to put my energy where it needs to be put in this work, or am I burned out? If you're burned out, it's okay. We all kind of go through that at some point. I've always seen burnout as an opportunity to reset and to kind of go back into the tools. So if we ignore the guy on the hill who's kind of doing his own thing, we actually see that there's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of untapped potential here. So there could be someone that's creating a lot of noise and a lot of clamor, but that's them trying to get some attention there. So you could go back to the drawing board, to the resources, and just get back to work. Or you could go back and realize, like, why did I want to do this in the first place? When we lose this sort of passion, sometimes there's a chance to go right, left, or completely change your path. And I think that's the kind of wake-up call for you from your guides is, if the passion's gone, why is it gone? And if there's something you'd rather be doing, this is the time to pick up the sort of slack and do that as well. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at what's going on in yourself, your ego, your soul. So as we look at this, it's self-confidence. We have Five of Pentacles reversed, which means you're going to start to fight for equity, for balance. So we see endurance on this. It's a very interesting card, a very interesting caption as well. Typically with Five of Pentacles, we would see two figures looking away from each other in front of a sanctuary. There is help behind, there is help there, beside, almost any direction, but the two parties are focused on feeling wronged. And by doing that, they don't see what's right. They don't see the help. It also can represent a stolen, and I use that word kind of figuratively because you always have the power to take something back, but a feeling that someone took something from us. So when that happens, our confidence kind of is faltering a bit. And I want to remind you here that you always had what it takes. You still have what it takes. So the important piece for you as we look at heart, soul, spirit here is to reclaim, to believe, to really embody positivity in your life. When you value yourself more, then other people are not going to abuse your energy, your resources, your time. And one thing that I'm noticing overall here is you definitely are worth more than some people are recognizing, whether it's in money or appreciation. Because of this, if we take a quick look at the cards here, what this can mean is that lack of support and recognition, it's not sustainable. That's why we have completion, a new opportunity, an end, a definite full stop of what's going on. And then that's bringing you to more change. We have the blasted oak here, which is the tower. It's interesting because I didn't even see it. It was hidden. But the death card sometimes feels like the tower. Here's the thing. This isn't opportunities. So I know we're jumping ahead, but this card is kind of what's fueling all of this. You have a choice right now. Be the change or be changed. Be the agent of change or be sort of like a part of the boulders rolling down the hill. So if you're the agent of change, you hold the power and you can actually negotiate more. If you are catching up to change, like that card that I was looking at, let's see if I can, this one, like this Knight of Swords that we were looking at in the other deck, then you're trying to always play catch up. So my sort of advice to you is value yourself and believe in yourself enough to push through and to fight for here and now, whatever it is that needs to happen, and to embrace the change. Because then you actually start to really make a difference and cool things start to happen for you, okay? Let me see if there's anything else that I want to focus on with respect to that. A chance for healing, particularly when it comes to old relationships, to family, and also to the inner child. So I would say if there's something that you've always wanted to do, why not now? This is the time to really focus on that, okay? Environmentally, taking the first step, we have temperance here. And we have that sort of balance of two equal powers here, two serpents looking at each other eye to eye. And I think this is one thing that would be really important, is looking things head on, whether it's an opportunity, whether it's fear, whether it's an opponent. I was recently watching Cobra Kai. I loved the Karate Kid as a kid. And that's one of the things, when they bow, they have to look at each other. I think there's actually a lot of importance when we just think of negotiations, conversations, resolutions. If you can't read the person's face, if you can't read their sort of energy, that's going to be difficult. So when you take your first step this month, whether it's first step towards a new job, a new relationship, towards healing, towards recovery, look that opportunity square on. And then if you're working with someone, also look at them face on too, because that's going to be so important. It's just as important as taking the first step. You want to see that person's there with you, or that they want to see that you're there with them, okay? And basically patience. Whenever we have temperance, it's just patience here, okay? The face on the stone at the bottom is possibly recognizing that sort of being that you're in the middle. But this is sort of like I just imagine that this would be a sacred stone somewhere. But we're looking beyond that. I'm really looking at the two snakes here. I think here, reminding you again that you're the source, that you're equal, and that when I'm looking at that, try not to be in the middle, caught in the middle, try not to be the middle person. That's what I see when I see that. Okay, let's move on to hopes, fears, and opportunities. Well, it's to be actually an agent of change. Whenever I get the Tower card in reverse, it actually is a power card. If it's upside down, or if it's right side up rather, and you're falling down, you're just trying to go with the flow. When it's reversed, you could potentially be the one, in this case, that is breaking the branch, that's making the change happen, that's breaking down the wall. So are you ready to do the deconstruction and then the construction later that's necessary as a part of change? I guess it's how much of a leader you want to be, and how involved in this sort of affair you want to be. Again, with respect to what's going on here, I see no option but to change, no option but to move. Because when we're looking at this, we have an end and a movement, because this can be a new house, a new job, a new relationship. We have the absolute end of whatever it is that you're walking away from, the shedding of a skin and the movement from one self into one way of being into another way of being. Then we have this ultimate sort of like, if you don't do that, if you don't take the cue, you will be pushed into that anyway. But this is change, change, change. And then we also see end of contract, fulfilled, duty, etc. So I'm excited about the potential for you to make a difference, to make a shift in your life. The only thing that could hold you back is your own sort of reluctance to accept the change. Let's take a look at your final card, which is the Six of Cups, a reunion. And I like this a lot. This actually didn't it come through as I was looking at the forecast as well? I think it was it Thursday? Can't remember. I'm trying to visually remember in my head. So when we're looking at this sort of endless forecast or timeless forecast, what I would say here is all of that you're doing is bringing you possibly to a really nice partnership and a really nice friendship in your life. It's also putting you in a place where people are ready to receive what you have with open hearts and open hands, open arms. So everything about this is great. Friendship, completion, reunion, and I would also say like success. Focusing on what matters. Some of you might be deciding to prioritize a relationship in your life. Maybe it's your partner, maybe it's your family. Maybe it's about helping the community, because there's a community vibe to this. But whatever it is, I see people being a key component to the success of this. And you have the ability to lead these people as well if you want to be in a leadership position, like a big brother here or a big sister. That kind of energy is also coming through with this. If you've been looking for partnership, what I'm seeing here, whenever I get Death and Six of Cups, that's past life. And I do see that for some of you, you've completed a contract, you can move on. For some of you, you're calling in a contract or calling in a karmic relationship. No matter if it's entering or leaving, there's a lot of energy of change that happens with this. So buckle your seatbelts there. But because we have the world here in the deep past, kind of like grounding all of this, and we have a really nice Three of Wands at the center, If something's leaving, it's for the best. If something's entering, it's for the best, even if it's a little bit chaotic. Remember, you're just as strong, just as powerful, just as capable as the other person in this equation. All right, let's go ahead now and we're going to expand the forecast. When I expand the forecast, I like to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. In this one, it's going to be a little bit different because we'll be focusing on this through the lens of messages from your guides. So I'll specifically be looking at, is there a message to be healthier from your guides and what can you do? Not just about like right here, right now in your life. So let's start with the health card. Health is mind, body, and spirit. We have this card of emergence here. To me, I see it's like the tree of life coming through and this person almost being a part of that. I see a lot of similar energy between this. It's almost like they transposed the tree on top of that person, if you can see what I'm seeing. So I would say one of the most important things for you is to embody the work that you've done in your life and realize that you are grounded, strong, capable, and that you always want to reach higher. There's no point in going lower. There's no advantage in sort of second guessing yourself. Everything right now is pushing you up to the next level. And of course, focusing on the core, focusing also on the root chakra this month is going to be really important. So I would say like the base of your spine and also your legs, your lower extremities. Well, by the way, when we look at health, that's part of this sort of area of sensitivity with the Five of Pentacles. So focusing on that is going to be really, really important. So take care of yourself and practice. You can do like tree pose in yoga. You can meditate with the tree. You can also work on strengthening lower back, hips, legs, etc. By the way, standard disclaimer applies when I'm looking at anything of this nature. You always want to talk to a doctor before you change how you exercise. And if there's anything wrong with your body, you always want to talk to a doctor. But that being said, I'm here to help you navigate the energy. So let's look at what the energy is saying here. First of all, you are stronger than you may give yourself credit for. And these two cards are showing a lot of similarity when it comes to core and root energies. I talked here about the legs and also like circulation. With the Five of Pentacles, a lot of times, if you've had an injury in your ankle, knee, hip, etc., this can just be a period of recovery, and you want to take care of yourself. Move a little bit more there as well. Five of Wands can be going to the gym and just doing some general sort of like exercise. One thing that I'm seeing here is just an end of stagnation. You might have had a close call, something didn't go the way you needed or wanted it to with health. And what we see here is that there's going to be positive changes that bring about positive results, but you have to take an active role in that. Also, one thing that I'm looking at with Queen of Pentacles in reverse, just don't overdo it when it comes to food or drink. Overall, the cards are okay, but Death and Tower means change is necessary. Six of Cups and Five of Wands, doing the work and seeing positive results. That kind of heartens me. So I think it's important to be patient with progress and don't try to do everything overnight and don't go all like kind of crazy into the exercise. If you can't go from 0 to 100, you have to sort of ease into it. When I started recently hiking again, the first time I did it, I was just really, really slow, and it may have taken me almost like 45 minutes or something. And now I've kind of got the mile and hike to half of that, but it took a few weeks, took back about like a month's time actually to kind of get to that. So it takes time to build your muscles back up and to build your endurance. So give yourself time and energy. The most important thing here is to stand strong and stand tall. And so emotionally, this is really about finding your power again and not letting that go. Okay. One last card, just balance in general, since we had a couple of cards here with the Five of Pentacles and the Five and Six of Pentacles. This can have to do with either inner ear balance, or maybe you're having a hard time balancing because of muscle issues or whatever. So take care of yourself and watch your balance. Okay, let's move on to wealth. The message for wealth is to not feel bad about the past and to not feel bad when things go well. We have a card here titled Guilt, and it says, I release any beliefs that no longer assist my soul's growth. All right, so if you've made mistakes and have had debt in your life, something I'm sure many of us have had at some point, it's not about what went wrong with the money. It's about, or the choice of investment in time and energy. It's that now you're going to make a stronger sort of decision here. This is from the person's perspective, the first person's point of view when we're looking at the Six of Pentacles, because we're missing that person. So this tells me you're already sitting in that position of power. So don't feel that sense of guilt anymore. The other thing is guilt over success. So sometimes when you're doing well and others aren't, there's this feeling of, I can't talk about that. I think it's just about tact, and you shouldn't have to, actually. So just feel good about the work that you're doing in your life, and then don't feel like you have to explain yourself to anybody. Whether you've made a mistake or whether you're doing well, that's all your journey. So no more guilt. Don't be guilted into doing something by parents, boss, or coworkers in your life, peer pressure, because a lot of times they'll use guilt. Well, you're the only person in the family that's gone to school and we're trusting you to do this, or you have to enter into your mother's business because everyone else has. You have to kind of you don't have to do any of these things if you don't want to do these things. So release guilt. It's just as bad as fear or intimidation. That is not going to help you. That is actually a potential block when we're looking at wealth. Let's look at the other cards with respect to your wealth and abundance. I already talked a little bit about the Six of Pentacles being your true point of view. There's still a little bit of soul work to be done on believing it. So self-confidence and limits and speaking up and asking for a little bit more. If you're working somewhere, it is time for a change. There actually could be some merger or shift on the horizon, but you want to be ahead of that. You want to talk to people about this. You want to be looking for a plan B, etc. Get your sort of safety net in order and steer the wheel of change and move in that direction. But if you are trying to buy something, you might be getting it cheap. If you are trying to sell something, you probably should push for a little bit more. If you're trying to negotiate, then for like a job or for pay, or just make sure that you're pushing, because the initial offer is lower than it should be. Okay? Ultimately, I think it's time to move on, or if you're in a current job, probably time to move on, or there has to be a big shift. You have to enter into a new title, or you might be thinking of retiring. You might be thinking of something else. There has to be shift or movement or growth. This can be growth. These can both be growth, but I would want to see a little bit more growth and movement happening. The power is in your connection with other people in your life. Six of Cups, normally you would see like a lovely children and kind of like holding hands. Really great energy of connecting with others. That's where the power is. Don't be afraid to network right now. Overall, pretty good energy. For those of you that are retired, it might also be time for a change of living situation or just a decision to change what you're focusing on. No matter where you sit with wealth and career and resources, you have enough, but you have to make some changes. You have to kind of ease into something new, something different. Okay? All right. So again, we just looked at health and wealth. So the next piece is going to be love. Love is going to not just be, like I had a title on one of the choices that you could vote on for today. It's love with a capital L. So we'll be looking at all relationships when I look at love. But I always like to look at in love, looking for a relationship, or single and happy. So with that being said, first and foremost, we have two cards here that came up. So we have the whale spirit and then the frog spirit. Let's look at the whale. Trust the great mystery. I also just think of making a splash. So when it comes to relationships, one of you, if we're looking at existing relationships, may just be in a place where you're really making a splash in your life. There's a lot going on. The other person could feel like that little hidden frog in the background. It says clear the clutter. So if we look at the two captions, trust is the word that I'm drawn to here, and then sort of clearing the clutter. So cleaning things up. The other thing with the frog is we think of like kissing the frog and there's a prince or princess that's hidden there. Not everything's what it looks like. So looking beyond the surface and making sure that you're recognizing people around you. All right, let's break it down and look at relationships first, those in a relationship. We have to look at just straight down the center. Something's come to pass, the sort of whole reason that you were brought together. You've kind of cleared the karma. You've figured out what you need to figure out. So now you're at a precipice where you decide, do I stay or do I go? And it does feel like there needs to be some changes in this sort of just general relationship. Maybe one of you wants to take a new job. Maybe one of you wants to move. Maybe you want to do something different. You need to sort of like reignite the spark a little bit. Self-confidence is a big issue here. Saying no and trying not to overcommit is another big issue. So in existing partnerships, if there's any stagnation, how to deal with that, that would be like the first item on the agenda. And then I would also say trying to find a way to sort of jumpstart something new, looking at things that you could be doing that could create some more excitement, some more movement as well. If you want to sell a house, it feels like it's a good time to do that, but I do see people holding on, and I think there could be some emotional decisions at play when you're pricing or trying to decide if this is the right thing to do. So just make sure you're on the same page. There's a lot of movement away from one another. So remember what I said, sometimes you just need that space. We do have a really optimistic card at the end with the Six of Cups, so I think you can come back to something that you agree, but you may have to step away for a second and get some clarity. If you're looking for love this month, it's a karmic partner. Death and Six of Cups, you've met in a past life. If you end up walking towards this person, it's really positive, but it does change things. And I don't know how much time you have right now. So I think the important thing is like, how much energy do you want to put into this particular relationship? Because this is past, we're also seeing like an earth sign. I would say the person that's coming through in the past can be a little controlling. So be mindful of that. Just to kind of jump back to those of you that are already in a relationship, that's another thing here is control. So whether you're looking for love or in love, making sure that you are on equal footing is going to be important. Okay, finally, if you're single and happy, it's a good time to be single and happy. I think there's nothing but change going on around you. And what you can really do is seize this opportunity to work hard and also kind of like grow your resources. If you wanted to sell a house or move or travel, all of these cards are supporting that. And ultimately, even if you're not looking for love, I see a chance to really meet a great connection in your life, a new friend, a new ally, someone that's worth the investment and worth that leap of faith, okay? Let's take a look at your final card. Not your final card, but your destiny card here. So your destiny card is the house. So some of you might actually be thinking about parting with your house or moving into a house. Spiritually speaking, this is also about the company that you keep and the things that you're building in your house. So what have you done in your spiritual house? Are all the doors and windows shut? Is there a welcome mat? Is it inviting? So how open are you? Is this an open house or a closed house? So if you're looking to sell a house, you just got to signal there that the time is right, but we want to fight for a little bit more because someone's trying to lowball you. When we're looking at spirituality, I see a closed door, and I'm just wondering, like, are you ready to invite or make space or open up that house so that something or someone else can come in? Let's look at the big idea. The big idea is an overarching answer to the original question, what is the message from your guides? So let's see if there's one big focal point for you to look at. All right, so we have the Woodward card here. In this particular deck, it's actually strength. They reverse justice and strength. So I love that on this particular card, we actually see the divine masculine stepping forth. So this is positive for both those that identify as male and female or neither. Traditionally, what we see is domination on the card. Each and every one of us, irrespective of our gender, have the capacity to connect with divine feminine and divine masculine. So there's always, what we've seen on this card is there's no more polarity. We don't see like one overtaking the other one. We see a blending. There's no reason that, and maybe a role reversal. There's no reason that this lynx, I think it's a lynx, couldn't be feminine. And so now we see the divine masculine sort of ready to exist in both skins too. So if you're wanting to do something that in the past was not acceptable for you, let's just take gender out because it can get messy. Let's just say that mom or dad or someone else in your life doesn't want you to do something, because there's also control, which is a part of strength. You now can do whatever you want to do. This is your life. It's always been your life to live. If there was something like age or gender or race or some other arbitrary thing in life that's been holding you back from doing something, you're going to reclaim your right to go for that, because just like he's wearing an animal skin here, this body, it isn't truly all that you and I are. It's one facet of the diamond of our soul. So we have a bunch of different faces, like the drama masks, right? Or a bunch of different skins that we all have worn and will wear, and different things that we will try in this lifetime. So this is saying you can mold, you can change. You also already have everything you need to step into the change. I mean, it's kind of, this is the circle of life, so we're not going to get grossed out, but we can actually see when you take off all of this, we're all just bones underneath, right? So this is the animal just showing us, this is death saying you're all bones, at your energy and bones. The skin and the height and all that other stuff doesn't matter. So step into what your true power is. You've always had it. You always will. Okay? There you go. This is why I like this deck. It's unusual. It's close enough to Rider-Waite-Smith that it gives us what we need, but it's far enough away that it actually takes us into places that we didn't expect. Just a couple quick summarization points before we get into the next portion of the reading, which will be the final card in the meditation. I don't do reviews much anymore, but because this is a sort of special reading, I just want to give it the time that it needs. You have more power than you think. You're already closer to who and what you want to be than you might imagine. Is the door to your opportunity open or closed? What are you doing to kind of keep it open? Are you getting lost in this maze, or are you kind of walking through that door? I think that focus and that understanding is important. You are the one that holds the power here. Let's see if I can do two cameras at once. There we go. I can't do the right direction. So you've always held that potential to get into the next sort of thing, but you have to kind of like pull. Remember we talked about with pull and push. This is part of the pull and push, okay? And so when you're willing to do that, then I see great things happening. Some of you still have that feeling of guilt for wherever you're at in your life, so don't be there. Your guides really want you to own your power. So do I. So hopefully that helps you. All right, let's just recap where we've been and where we're going. We just got through the special topic, and now we're going to prepare for the final portion of this, which is going to involve a question that you can ask me. So for many of you who have been wondering, like, but I still have this question, scribble it down right now. We're going to meditate for all of 2 minutes. I hope you can stick around, because we're also going to, in this meditation, put some prayer and energy out there for peace in the world right now. So rather than leave, stick around and let's just do a little bit of a peace meditation, and then we'll get into your final card. Before I do that, a quick reminder, if you ever need my schedule, you can see it on my website. I'll be announcing my upcoming schedule next week. I have a little bit of tentative dates for the first 2 weeks of the month, but the rest should be predictable. So times may shift a little bit. So just keep an eye on that for more information. All of my social media links are listed here. After we get through the meditation, I'll post it. I know that my moderators have been good about doing that, so thank you for them. If you would like to help out the channel, you could do that by subscribing. And thank you to everyone who's given back with super stickers and super chat. I'll say thank you at the very end, and I know Maria and Dakota have been doing that throughout. Okay, so let's meditate. Let's get this set up here. As I'm getting ready for the meditation, I'll give you a chance to vote on which instrument that I play. If you're brand new, you can just pick the one that sounds cooler. I have a crystal pyramid, and I have a singing bowl. The crystal pyramid sounds like chimes a little bit, and the singing bowl is one note consistently that's pretty. So singing bowl, there you go. You can vote on either of these. While you're doing that, let's meditate. So today, because of what's going on in the world, there's a lot of there's potential war on the horizon. There's a lot of stuff going on. I want to put a meditation out for peace. For everybody in our lives, we can benefit for this. So let's say that you're having difficulty with someone in your life. It could be an ex, it could be a family member, it could be someone who's passed in spirit, and there was like bad blood or there's friction. Everybody has somebody in their life that you could probably improve the relationship with. So we're going to clear the karmic cords between you and that other person, and we're going to try to create an energetic peace. Even if it's, I don't want to see you again, and we're not going to kind of have this battle anymore. So from everybody in our lives, we can do that. And then we're also going to ask for peace on earth today as well. Okay? So close your eyes and take a deep breath. On the exhale, I want you to let go of any sort of tension that you might be holding on to in your body. If you need to kind of take your neck and move it back and forth, you can do that. And let's imagine that we are sitting at the top of the tallest mountain on earth, looking at all civilizations From this vista, we can see everyone and everything, even though there's really no point you can do that. Let's just imagine that there's a spiritual place, a spiritual plane, a mountain, a magical mountain that we could sit on top of and see everybody. From this distance, from this vista, what you notice is just all these beautiful lights on the planet. Everybody has a different sort of energetic color, but from a distance, they're just like twinkling stars. And if we were to all have the privilege of being able to view Earth from like the moon, we would see how precious and delicate the balance of life and the balance of peace is on this planet. So see the connective threads of light that connect all the hearts on this planet. Sometimes those connections get rusty with power struggles. Sometimes they get rusty with fear and anger and just vendettas and things that don't even make sense. Sometimes you're angry and you don't know why you're angry. From this distance, we don't see that anymore. We just see light. Everybody that's here today, the remaining 1358 that are here today, let's imagine that all of you could blast a little bit of light on this planet. Start first by blasting it towards the person who you want to release. See your heart beaming the light out towards them. And don't see any sort of, as you start to beam the light, imagine that there's another light that comes through you, the sort of universal flow. So as we all tap into it, we're not going to empty our resource. It doesn't work that way. We're tapping in to the universal flow. So you can imagine a single ray of starlight coming through your crown chakra, lighting up your body, and then in your heart space, you're going to beam out that energy. And as you do that, especially towards the person or situation that's been giving you difficulty, think to yourself, I'm ready to rise above. I'm ready to release. I wish you love and peace. Remember the boomerang message. You get what you give. You wish love and peace, you get love and peace in return. And now for the harder thing, which is the planet, which moves at a different pace and everybody's in a different sort of frequency. We're just going to try to bring it up one little octave, one little bit. We could use it today. So imagine that as I play the, I'm going to play the crystal pyramid today. As I'm playing that crystal pyramid, that you can see your heart lighting up the planet and you can see things getting a little bit brighter. Sending love to people that need love and need support and feeling like you did your part today. So just relax, let your heart be emboldened with light. And let's bring a little bit of love and light on the planet right now. If you were to look from a distance, you would see nothing but light on this planet. Instead of the swirling blue and white sort of clouds that we see always, it would just be this bright light like a star. So today, Please, guides, angels, ascended masters, hear our prayer for peace on this planet. Help raise the frequency a little bit, whether it's just one person in one event or one person in your life or everybody on this planet. Just allow our prayers to be heard. Okay? So let's move along to your final card today. The final card can be anything that you would like it to be, any question that you would like it to be. Just focus on what that is, and I'll do my best to interpret what's coming through for you. Okay, we have the Nine of Pentacles card, which is great. This is a very unusual Nine of Pentacles. So normally with the Nine of Pentacles, we would see a figure sort of standing in a garden, and they're able to kind of like reap the rewards of the hard work that they've done. Here we see someone holding what almost looks like an Ouroboros and then a snake as well, and they're really tapped in. This is kind of like what we were doing. They were praying, they're meditating. So with the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, if you have more than enough, then you can give and also feel this sense of safety in your own path. You're going to be okay. To me, this is a card of sustainability. And so it may not always be obvious, but I see a lot of resources and a lot of support to bring through whatever it is you want to do. There is often an independence to a fault that can come through with the Nine of Pentacles. So this to me is someone that can handle anything. This is resources that are abundant, but sometimes things could be just a little bit better if help was received, if help was accepted. So if someone offers a helping hand and the offer is good, you take it. If you can give a helping hand, you give a helping hand. And if you're afraid of, will I be okay? This tells me you've been through all of the requisite pieces to sort of like create this new level of sustainability. So no matter how you slice it, I think things are looking pretty good when it comes to like resources and sustainability. The only thing that's getting in the way is accepting the truth that I can and I will do this, or tomorrow will be fine, and also accepting help when help is offered. Don't be afraid to ask for help as well. Because there can be a pride. That was really the word I think I was looking for. There can be pride that gets in the way with the Nine of Pentacles. But it's otherwise a great card. The one thing that's missing, sometimes I take it's been a while since I've seen Rider-Waite-Smith, but with the Rider-Waite-Smith card, you would actually see the snail in there, which reminds us slow and steady wins the race. So take your time and really, allow things to come in the right time, in the right place. Don't rush things, okay? Pretty good overall. Today was magical. I mean, every weekend and every time I read with you, it is magical. But today I could feel a little bit more energy, and I saw we had a really great group of people here. So thank you for being a part of that. I hope you enjoyed. If you haven't yet seen your sign, all but Pisces, I'll be doing Pisces tomorrow, but all the rest of the signs are on my main YouTube page for March, and I'll be starting April later next week. So again, scheduled to be announced. All of that will be on my website as well, and social platforms if you need to get a reminder as well. Please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And if you haven't hit the thumbs up once, please hit that. All right, I want to say thanks to everybody that's given back today, so I'm going to go into that. So you can still do that while I'm saying thanks, but let's get into the gratitude. First of all, thank you for making this an amazing reading today. Special thanks to my moderators for their help. I know we had a lot of chat going on, so you guys did a great job. I wanted to say a special thanks to all the folks that have been with me for the better part of 3/4 of a decade, which I've been doing this, so thank you so much. If you're brand new, welcome. And if you gave back today, thank you. I know we're kind of at time right now, so I'm going to quickly hop into anybody who gave back today. So let's take a look at folks that decided to either become a member or give a super sticker or super chat, and then I'll let you get on to your day. All right, so first things first, let's take a look at new members. All right, so for anybody that's joined today or in the last 12 hours or so, I want to say thanks. We'll start first with Darwin. Thanks for being a member for 20 months and rejoining. To Van and Sheila, thank you so much for 1 month and for rejoining. Ready Now, brand new member. Good to have you here. Megan Semen, thank you so much for 4 months and for rejoining. Let's see, JG Butler, 10 months rejoining. I appreciate it. Kanyapriya, thank you as well for rejoining and being a star member. I appreciate that. Elda Paredes, thank you very much for your brand new membership. And let's see here, we have Yvonne Benjamin, Jennifer Shaw, Lori Fry, and I think that's everybody because I had already said thanks to Lori before. All right, good to have everybody with me, and let's take a look now at those that gave some super sticker or super chat. All right, let's see. So thank you so much, first and foremost, as I'm waiting for this to load. No matter how much or how little, I appreciate it. It helps me continue to do new stuff and to show up more often, so I appreciate it. All right, so let's take a look here at the weekly collective today. Looks like there was a decent amount, so I'll do my best to move at a pretty good pace here. First of all, thanks to everybody. Michelle Baines, you were the first one today to contribute. I appreciate that. Peyton Kramer, thank you very much. Ms. Optimistic, great name. I appreciate your contribution. Michelle Buckoff, thank you as well. Queen of Wands Intuitive, thank you. Micah Teal, Carmen A., Diane Spencer, thank you very much. We have also Muggle 1983, Soul Surfer, Jesse Liu, let's see, Anahata Light, thank you. Shayna Hewitt, Bella0418, Sue Bennett, Melanie Schaefer, Alice Felice, Sheena Davis, Charlene Fox, thank you so much for the 50 as well. Kathy Ahern, Toy Sisters, Carla Owen, Queen of Wands Intuitive, again, thanks. Cathis L, thank you. Elizabeth Quigley, let's see, Gina Gonzalez, Crystal McKnight, let's see, Kak Lee, Carolyn McDade, AB, Misha Crane, Carolyn Sue, Lucy Rodriguez, Jeannie Hart, good to see some familiar names as well, I appreciate it. M. Glynn, Mauricia Arujo, thank you. Cindy Toshik, Chioko, let's see, Juhi Lee, Joy Ferguson, Wendy Wright, Misha Crane, and let's see, Adiad? Sorry, I can't say that last one, but thank you. I think I caught everybody, a couple of late ones here, Ruby Red, Etu, Critical Thought, and I hope I caught everybody. Yeah, got everybody. Thank you so much today. I really appreciate it. Again, special thanks for the prayers that we put out to the planet as well. I hope to see all of the Pisces here bright and early tomorrow. And my schedule will be announced as well tomorrow for the upcoming month. Again, first 2 weeks, times could shift, but days should stay the same. The rest of the month will be the same. All right, everybody, take care of yourself. Much love and light. Do something fun today. Remember the Three of Cups. Do something that you love to do, and do something to really kind of bring some love and joy into your life. All right, until I see you again, have a great day. Lots of love and light.